Hey everyone, today I'm going to share how I made a custom dress form almost entirely from textile waste. Literally the whole bodice of this dress form is from my textile waste. This includes old holey socks that I cut up, lots of scraps from my sewing, 2 old pillows, and an old shower curtain that was fabric based. Not only is this dress form super sustainable, but it's really cost efficient. If you've ever looked up dress forms, they can be hundreds to thousands of dollars for custom dress forms, but this one only cost me $40 US. Isn't it amazing what you can do with your waste? Let me show you how I did it.
To make this dress form, I used the Bootstrap Fashion sewing pattern for their DIY dress form. Bootstrap Fashion has various different patterns to choose from on their website. To complete your custom dress form, you have to fill out several measurements before you purchase the pattern. If you don't know how to take your measurements or are unsure how to take it, you can simply click the question marks and it provides helpful visuals on how to go about taking your measurements. It works just like any other PDF pattern where you print out the pieces and tape them together. After filling out your measurements, you can purchase your custom size dress form pattern, and all the details will be emailed to you within a 20-minute period. This includes the pattern and a body form mock-up of what your dress form will look like. It's pretty cool. Okay, now that the dress form pattern is done, let me show you all the materials. The first up is the main fabric, and we need about 1.1 meters of this main fabric. Instead of buying new fabric, I decided to use an old shower curtain. This shower curtain was a heavier woven fabric that I thought would serve as a good exterior for the dress form. Next up, the pattern recommends fusible woven interfacing and about 1.1 meters again of that as well. I decided to use a muslin weight fabric scrap for this. This is a lightweight cotton fabric that a family friend gave to me, and I'm not too fond of the design, so I thought it would be a great opportunity to use it as interfacing. We then move on to interlining and stabilizer. We need 0.8 meters of this. I'm using more scrap fabric here. This is a heavier cotton twill that I used in making a test pair of pants. The pattern also recommends using polyfill to stuff the dress form. I used the stuffing of 2 old pillows and a whole bin of cut up scraps that include knit scraps and woven scraps. Things I had on hand were 2 older zippers that I inherited from family friends giving me sewing stuff. I had cardboard as well, and that requires about 6 square feet for the dress form, and also craft glue. The things I ended up purchasing for this project are sponge, which is actually for the neck filling. I couldn't find the exact measurements indicated in the pattern, so we ended up buying 2 smaller sponges and cutting the pieces to fit inside the neck piece. The pattern also recommends purchasing a coat rack or coat tree and some PVC pipe to put inside the dress form and allow it to effectively stand. I actually struggled to find a reasonably priced secondhand coat tree, so I ended up improvising here. I found an old tree stand at a local thrift shop and took the stand with me to the hardware store. Through much problem solving, I landed on an extendable paint roller handle. This worked great because there are 2 parts to the pole to lengthen it, so one of those parts will actually sit inside the dress form. I also ended up cutting off the handle to have it appropriately fit into the base of the tree stand. After gathering all my material, I printed the pattern and pieced it together. I then cut out all my pattern pieces and got ready for cutting. Cutting is, of course, very straightforward. There are quite a few pieces, so I took my time and, just really eased into the process and listened to a podcast. I did cut out 1 of each piece of my muslin interfacing as well, and then baste them together within the seam allowance. This did create some added time, but it's a great way to use older fabric as interfacing versus buying new fusible interfacing. Because there are so many pieces with this project, I decided to label each one with some washi tape. This process also helped me to indicate the right and wrong side of the fabric. Labeling the pieces helped with the sewing process, especially in the initial stages of sewing those pieces together and following the instructions. I kept the pattern pieces close by to understand the assembly and how each number correlated with that numbered piece. I'm not going to go into great detail in the sewing of each section, but I do think the pattern provides great visuals and instructions to guide you along the way. In starting to sew, you first sew the center, back, and side pieces, and then you move on to the cup assembly and the lower side and front pieces. After these pieces are attached, the upper front pieces are then assembled. Throughout the process, the pattern recommends pressing your seams open and clipping into the curves. These are definitely not steps to skip and really help with a clean looking dress form in the end. I then sewed the sides together and the center front piece. After this, the shoulder seams are sewed up and the neck piece is attached and the center back seam is sewn up, which then allows you to see the whole dress form shaped together. The top of the neck is sewn on top and the armhole covers are attached along with the cardboard cutouts to provide stability there. Next, the inner support is then assembled and this will sit in the center inside the dress form. I made the pipe sleeve smaller since the diameter of my pole is smaller. I cut the unsewed edge of the pipe sleeve into wide strips, and then I attached the front inner support piece and back inner support piece to the pipe sleeve. I then sewed the inner support to center back and center front seams, matching the notches and ensuring that those seams were flat. I used scissors to cut the neck sponge and place that into the dress form. I then sewed up the base pieces, inserted the bottom zippers, and attached it to the bottom of the dress form. I finally stuffed up the dress form with many scraps. This included the pillow stuffing and, of course, lots of cut up knit scraps and small woven scraps as well.
And there you have it. I did insert the cardboard and glue up those fringe strips to the cardboard as well, but the pattern provides really great visuals along the way and lots of detailed instructions. I am so happy with my dress form, and I'm also so happy that I was able to save a lot of textile waste from the landfill. If you want to learn more about textile waste and why this is an important issue, I'll be sure to link some resources down below. Oftentimes when we look at old clothes or kind of go through our closet, we think that we can donate things and they'll be recycled or reused, but oftentimes this isn't the case. I encourage you to research locally and see where those textiles end up. For me, when I did that, I learned that there really isn't a textile recycling center here, so I have to reuse my textiles, like making awesome projects like this dress form. If you want to follow my zero textile waste journey, you can like, subscribe to the channel, and also follow me on Instagram at handmakingmel, where I share these projects and lots of my making journey. Until then, live sustainably and happily.